Welcome to the West Kent Talking podcast and the Southborough News YouTube site. I'm Martin Webber. It's the Borough Council elections in Tunbridge Wells coming up. I've already talked to representatives from the Liberal Democrats, the Conservatives, Labour and the Green Party. And today, the focus is on Reform UK. They're standing in all the seats across the borough. With me is Oliver Kinkade, who's one of the candidates for Reform UK in Sherwood.
That's me.
Oliver, why do you think you would be a good borough councillor for Sherwood?
I'm probably one of the age groups, like the disenfranchised. I was the first year to have my university fees tripled. I've obviously been through COVID. And since then, it's just been general decline, really. I moved here when I was about 12, then went off to university and everything like that. I remember when I moved here, I moved from Devon, and so the shopping centre, there was a real buzz about the town. The Panzar was exciting as a kid, where I'd come from really quite a remote place. It was a really exciting place to be. I've lived in London for 10 years, the last 10 years. Coming back now, you just see it's just a totally different town. It's pretty much derelict. The shops are run down. The quality of the shops has gone down. Traffic is a nightmare.
Isn't that true, though, of most town centres? People have moved online shopping and towns have to adapt, don't they?
Exactly, and that's the thing, is they do have to adapt. Everything has gone online, stuff has changed, but if there's a sort of overreach here of, it's almost like a socialism of we'll build a cinema, you have to come and run it, sort of thing. It's not how business works.
Okay, let's ask you specifically about that issue. That was my top question, really. The council, the big issue that's going to be decided in the next few months is the council's going to vote on whether to borrow £68 million for its redevelopment scheme for RVP. It says that will rejuvenate the centre. The council believes that by having a boutique cinema, which it hopes then to rent out to a contractor to bring it income, it's going to demolish a historic building that Civic Society are against. They're trying to have it listed before it can be demolished. And the snooker club are in the historic building as well, and obviously there's a petition of 6,000 residents who want the snooker club left alone. So that is the big number one issue to decide in the next few months. Where do you stand on that?
Okay, so it's they're just not qualified to be doing this. I work in financial markets. I don't think I would be qualified to be handed 70 million to go and deal with this. It's high risk. The rates are going up. The cost of war in Iran, the cost of oil, the cost of materials, the cost of everything that's coming over here. There's no way that they can budget this. And people haven't been asked. And largely, everyone is against it. There may be a few supporters, but they're very limited.
But of course, the councils say that they've had a consultation running over several years.
Yep.
It is mainly Lib Dems who are in favour of it, but some Labour councillors have said they support it too. So people have looked at the figures. Economic experts in the council, if you like, have come forward and said, yes, they think they can bring in £5 million a year somehow in terms of new rates or economic boost, rents to the RVP, which of course the council owns, in order to pay back this loan. What do you say to that?
I think very simply, the reason the shopping centre is quiet or dead at the moment really is the traffic issue. So firstly, I've had a friend who lived on Newton Road a while back, and if I go around there, I'd find regularly, because you come round and you go through, you find people will never come back. If you're out of town, you will never come back again. It's as simple as that. You can.
So this is this bus gate, they call it, whereby you find yourself in the middle of Tunbridge Wells, and there's a no entry sign, and you find you'll find we're going past the War Memorial, and apparently it's one of the biggest areas of fines from any council in the country.
It's a money spinner, right? And I think the council have become addicted to that value of that now as well. But it's short-sighted because it drives away growth in the town. Yes, the shopping habits have changed, but we're a bustling town of food and drink. There's no reason we can't have shopping. I was at the Ashford Outlet Centre the other day. That's packed. It's got really high-end shops. There's loads going on, and it's got parking, and you can park there for free. So there's no issues. And it's people drive out their way for it.
If you make parking cheaper, which you could do, aren't all the roads coming into Tunbridge Wells going to be even more clogged, because then even fewer people are going to go on the bus or walk there because the parking's cheaper?
Yeah, I think that is a problem at the moment. Well, the car park, I don't think people are going in at the moment. I think it's busy. I think it's busy anyway. I think they are empty, and it's either way. So we're going to build a cinema and we make it busy that way, or do we want to do it the cheap way, where we actually lower the difficulty in getting into town and and drive visitors into town. We used to have this, so there's no reason we can't have it now. I think really the traffic is actually probably unrelated. It's actually really the massive amount of houses that are being built without increasing the roads.
So let's just finish on the this RVP plan. Are you thinking about it, or are you definitely against it?
I'm definitely against it. I think it when have these projects ever gone well? And I think it's a huge risk. I think just take it on a smaller scale. The car park was due to cost £4 million. It cost £9 million. So by that metric, it's going to cost double. It's going to cost £170 million. So we don't know where this will go. The council won't even be here in 2 years' time. So
that's because of the local government reorganisation,
exactly.
Which is planned by Labour. I mean, who knows if things may change? I mean, the borough council may stay, or maybe a unitary council will just say to the people of Tunbridge Wells, "You've got the benefit of this cinema. You're going to have to pay an extra precept to cover this debt, presumably."
Yeah. So exactly. Yeah. So you're lumping someone with the bill and you're not actually taking the risk. If it all pulls off very nice, then we can all celebrate it and say we did this. But then if it goes horribly wrong, which I think it will do, then sorry, the bill's yours and you've got to go and sort out the problem now. And people are sick of funding these big corporate events. They're sick of funding developers. They're sick of funding, water companies. They just want stuff to work. They don't want to be charged for everything. They don't want to have all these costs just thrown at them. And when it goes wrong, they pay for it again. I think people are just sick of that, really. And we're having more of that. This is almost the size of Tunbridge Wells' budget, what they're taking out.
So you've been walking around the doorsteps in Sherwood.
Yep.
What have people been saying to you when you knock on their doors?
It's a real mix. Well, it's actually pretty obvious. It's the water, it's the housing, it's the cinema site now is obviously the main one which has come up. But really, yeah, people and crime actually. So there's been issues as well with wildlife being attacked by kids and stuff like that. And I think there's a general low presence of police, and it's people don't feel like there's that sort of trust anymore. There's not, you don't see your Bobby on the street. You don't see, there's not the community anymore. There's not the sort of integration. So
on that issue then, we've heard about the TN2 Sherwood community centre, which apparently isn't really operating and providing young people with opportunities and events anymore.
Well, what is, yeah. Well, any of these centres, the Amelia Scott Centre as well, all of these places, that used to, as a child, I always used to remember like the youth hubs and stuff like that, but they don't exist anymore, and there's nothing for kids to do. There's nothing for kids to do in town, and it's no wonder really they get themselves into trouble, because that's kind of what kids do. But there's nowhere for them to go. There's nowhere for them to be modelled, and that does need looking at. That's over 20 years that's been stripped away, longer really, and it's been on a slow decline, and now there is just nothing left. And
so there are other problems, but how, as a reform councillor, if you get elected, how would you change? How would you improve things?
So, we've had quite a lot of people. A lot of it's just talking and having a voice and actually speaking up for people. People don't seem to do that. There's a lot of people who have just done this as a sort of retirement job, and you see that, and then they get very angry and aggy if they're called out and stuff. And a lot of it's kind of the honour of it, or the power of being in local politics. And you don't seem to see actually that many people voicing opinions. So, say, for example, the snooker club, we've had people from there contact us asking for help and asking for a voice. And it's just basically being able to put your neck on the line and actually do that and gather the people you need. We've got loads of business people involved who have had really successful careers. We've got people who know all about the S106 forms and housing developments, stuff like that. So it's not, I can't just say I know everything, because it's not, but I know where to go and find those people, and I think that's really important. And people want to help out, and that's you often don't know where to go for that, and you don't know where to kind of get that voice. Or so we've got everyone we need to do it, really.
Okay, you mentioned housing earlier, and obviously the house prices are ridiculously high.
Yeah.
There's a whole generation of people who aren't dying off and are hanging on to their old large houses, and it's very difficult for younger people to get somewhere big enough for them to move into and have a family. So what's your solution to that? Well,
I'm actually in that sort of environment, so my partner, we're thinking about having a family and stuff. You've got the cost of that is through the roof, of maternity leave and stuff like that. I think she gets 2-3 weeks full pay. So it sort of snowballs from there. But
Are you in somewhere big enough to have a family at the moment?
Oh, just in a flat at the moment. So, but getting on the ladder is really difficult. So you've got all these new builds. We've walked around plenty of them now, and they're mega money. They're 600-700, well, really 700 grand probably starting. And I've lived in London, lived in Wandsworth for many years, and you can see what happens there is they clear out the old council sites, knock it down, take the money, and then they move their social issues towards these towns. So what you see here now is affordable housing isn't affordable housing, it's just a buzzword, or it's just a legal term, really. So you're having basically London borough councils will have bigger budgets because they've got bigger costs, but they can afford these affordable houses here. They can move people from London to here or from wherever, and then we are then back without houses. So like locally, we won't be able to buy those affordable houses. But
because affordable definition is only something like, was it 10% lower than the average price?
Yeah, exactly, but it's also different rates. So for London, affordable is higher, so they can afford that there and here, but we can't afford that here. So we're priced out of our own affordable.
So the Green Party say they've got a solution, which is the councils themselves taking out loans, similar to the one for the cinema, but take out loans which may have a better chance of return because it is property and they will have people in them paying rent. There is a demand. Why don't you do what the Green policy is in Maidstone, which is to buy land, build council houses, and then they can make sure they are affordable and suitable for local people?
I think we, again, is it the overbearing of government? Really, we should make stuff do it possible. And basically, you're there to make sure people are responsible in what they're doing, right? So if they're coming in and saying, right, we're going to build these affordable houses, well, they're not affordable. So that sort of scrutiny.
But if you're the council doing it, couldn't you then make sure they are affordable?
Well, when does the council do these things well? That's the thing. It's the same as the cinema site. So,
but then what you're talking about earlier is a symptom of the fact that in the private sector, the house builders can only make money, or the amount of money their shareholders demand, if they find green fields, which are cheap to build on because there's nothing to clear, and they build these executive houses, which is what is happening particularly in the south of Tunbridge Wells, isn't it?
Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's to an extent the case, but I think there's also evidence of that actually the Tunbridge Wells is its nice kind of happy bubble of wealth and happy living. But actually what we're doing is that affordable housing, you're pushing it out into lesser areas with lesser infrastructure and less the sort of ability to fight. So if you look at Padded Wood, they've had 4,000 houses added. There was only 4,000 to start with, so it's doubled the size of the town. No schools added, no medical centres added, nothing. So
but how would you prevent that? I mean, where's the money coming from? If the developers asked to pay for all these things, they just won't build the houses. They won't be interested.
No, but that's what I think they're doing. I think they're actually pushing out that problem. So they're basically, all they're trying to do is do the tick sheet of we have to build so many houses this year. We won't make it our problem here. We'll go and make it Paddock Wood's problem, or we'll go and make it, put it on the border of Sussex or something like that. So it doesn't look like, so we've basically done our quota, but they don't. There isn't that sit down and scrutiny to actually be like, right, these houses can a first time buyer buy these houses. That's really what it should be. Cut this affordability thing. Okay, we know how much a first time buyer can generally afford for the deposit and whatnot. So let's actually build those houses. That's an affordable house, and it should be going to first time buyers only. It shouldn't be. It should like that. That sort of criteria should just be for them.
Let's go back to Sherwood itself.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything that you can do about the Sherwood Community Centre? Are there any other assets down there that you think you would be able to improve for local residents?
Yeah, I think that is a big one. I think this whole community needs to be driven back together. I think who knows their neighbour anymore, sort of thing. And I think it's just none of these things need to cost millions. It's just people need to know it's there. For one, they need people can volunteer. People like doing these things. So I've spent every day knocking on doors it's because I want to do it. I think you get paid a little bit for this, but it's not going to do anything. And really, you would do it for free. And I think there's plenty of those people out there. They just don't know that they don't know that they're needed to go and do that. And
to get local people involved. Yeah.
And that's been long lost. Everyone used to know their neighbour, and you don't have that anymore. And maybe that's the internet and stuff like that, but I think, there's a lot of division, and I think people just just needed that nudge. Sometimes they don't know their value to go and get involved in these things, and there's plenty of people who can do that around here.
Let's talk a bit more about Reform UK as a party, because obviously this is a local election. They are voting for you.
Yep.
But obviously people will look at the fact you're representing Reform UK.
Yep.
Reform are in local government. They're running Kent County Council, which is the biggest chunk of our council tax bill. How do you think it's been going in the first year of Reform administration?
Yeah, I think good. I think they've already cut down a lot of the debt quite quickly, which 700, 800 million debt, which they were saddled with. But in general, I think the opposition would probably say that, oh, okay, well, you haven't cut down these numbers, or you've got it and you haven't found waste. I think it's very clear there's a culture everywhere, and I think probably the same here. There's a culture of waste. I've been into parish council meetings and stuff, and the quotes you hear are astronomical for what you're getting. There was one I was at a while ago. It was to have a ditch dug because someone's garden was flooding, and the quote was £60,000. I was like, this is, and they take that. They will say yes to that. So there's those sort of things where it's just like the lunacy of it. So it doesn't look like there's waste when you go in, but it's those sort of decisions, and they need to be hammered home, really. Okay,
so the council tax bill has gone up by 4% in the first year of Reform administration. I mean, it could have gone up 5%, so it could have gone up slightly more, but it hasn't really helped people's cost of living very much, has it, that 4% rise?
No, it hasn't, and I agree. I think council tax here is very high. When I lived in Wandsworth, it was about half of what it is here. So I was quite surprised when I moved here. And do you get your money's worth at the moment? I don't think you do. But if you had another party, it would have gone the full amount. You can know that for sure, right? So it has lowered less. It has risen lower than anyone else, but it is unfortunate that it's gone up. Yeah, I agree.
And what about the level of expertise and commitment amongst Reform UK councillors at county level? Because we have already seen them go down from 57 to 47 for a variety of reasons. What are people raising that on the doorstep? Are they asking whether Reform have the expertise?
No, we don't have it at all, to be honest. We get you obviously get people.
You don't have the criticism.
No, we get people who are very loud, who are in oppositions, right? It's their job to raise this and to sort of attack that. It's fine, but in the year between the two campaigns I've done, the momentum we've got now is massive. I think it'll be close for us. But people are often coming out their doors and wanting to have a chat, and if we've missed them with a leaflet, then they'll come run after us on the road and stuff. So, and we're the only party who have knocked on literally every door, and sometimes twice. And if we've missed them, so if you've had a leaflet through your door, and you haven't seen us, we have knocked on your door. So we're not afraid to face that at all.
So you. Definitely, Reform are definitely targeting Sherwood as a potential way of getting their first borough council seat in Tunbridge Wells. But so are the Greens as well, and they've been very active as well. I spoke to one of the Green Party candidates, and she said that what she's telling people is that Reform's solution is to punch down on people who've got less than average incomes when they should be punching up to get more revenue from the billionaires and big business. What do you say to that criticism?
I think it's just very usual, isn't it? I just don't agree at all. I think actually we're all told how to think, what to do, what to pay, and the Greens are a prime example. They're trying to now, right, we're going to tax you on this, and everything's all this cost and money, and we don't really know how we're going to fund it, but it's just for the fairies. And people leave. People are leaving their droves at the moment, and they pay the bills. And that's the thing. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not anywhere close, but I know basic economics. I know basic business, and it's the same. You can go back to cinema again, of this government overreach, and it's kind of a socialist idea of this overreach where, you know, here's your work quota, we build a cinema, people will pay for it. It's not how business works. It's not how these businesses survive. And I actually think the working class are massive supporters of us. I think they want to get they want to get to work. They don't want their van to be broken into and their tools nicked. It's pretty basic stuff. People don't want to have this overreaching government all the time telling them how to think.
But if you want, the things that have failed have been private water companies, have been private developers who are building the wrong sort of houses. So is a message saying the private sector can solve everything, is that really going to work?
No. I think government is there to manage and regulate. I think so that exactly that. So we were told every lever in Parliament would be pulled to get rid of the CEO of South East Water. He's still here. We were told that there's going to be these investigations. They've had the fine come through. That they want it forgiven to be put back into infrastructure. Why are we having that forgiven? That's our money. We've paid for that. They should be paying for that. So I think the government should be able to step in, and they should be able to raise the alarm, and they should be able to go to media and stuff like that. But no, I don't. I think there is obviously the balance of private sector. If they can run riot, they probably will. But that's what we're here for, to regulate and manage that, right? Which again, I don't think has been done. I don't think people are necessarily qualified to do that. This isn't breaking news with South East Water. With Greg Clark, we had water issues, and he was praised for his response to that. But then what was done to follow up that, And then we've had Mike Martin follow up, and he's going, I was assured that this was all dealt with. Okay, we don't take assurances because it's these dodgy private companies where they've got shareholders in Canada and the US, they couldn't care less. It's the same with our trains. We've got, German-owned trains and Spanish-owned trains, and we're subsidising those countries. So
you are in favour of more regulation where it's needed?
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think that's the point. It's the same as I work in finance, same in banking, and if they can run right, you will, and you need that regulation to. Sometimes there's a point where I think we go through cycles where it can be too much of a stranglehold on business, and then I think that's probably what we're seeing now, where you see the shops in decline. With if you take a kind of green policy, which would actually be Labour's policy now, but saying pushing costs up for food and drink businesses, it's just monumental. So they just can't survive it. People are running it. They're just running it as almost a hobby now, if you could call it that. But there's no profit in it, and people have to make a profit. It's a lot of risk. I've looked at running businesses here. To get a shop here, you probably need 3 years deposit. The landlord probably won't give you the shop, even if you have the money, because what they'll do is they'll take 3 years cash for one of these vape shops or something like that, or a new KFC because they can afford it, and they know that business probably won't go bust. But you will see those businesses stay empty for years.
So, Oliver, how would you then sum up why people should vote for you in Sherwood this coming week?
I think I could just bring some common sense. I'm not doing this as a retirement job. I am busy, but I think if you want something done, ask a busy person, right? I want to get stuck into this. I've really kind of got it in my blood now. I've at the count last year, I'm like, this is something I really want to do. I really am passionate about. I've spent every day, every weekend for the last 6 weeks knocking on doors to see people and talk to people and kind of see what they need. And yeah, I just really want to get my teeth stuck into all the issues. I want people to be able to connect with. It's funny being on the door when you go, oh no, I'm not voting for any of you, and you refer to as a politician. I just don't see myself as that because I'm new to it, and I kind of. It's why I got into it, because I am sick of it as well. And I hope that people can kind of have that connection again, have a contact. And you don't have to vote for me. If I get in, you don't have to vote for me. You don't have to be my party or anything. But I want to make sure that it's to the benefit of everyone. And yeah, hopefully I can prove that.
Excellent. Oliver, thanks so much for talking to us. Elsewhere in Tunbridge Wells, away from the big parties, David Hayward is standing in Pembury. He has a strong local following for the Independents for Tunbridge Wells party. Nick Pope is hoping to return to the council as well from the Tunbridge Wells Alliance party. He was on the council before. He's standing in Park Ward. You can follow all the latest election news on the Southbury News website, which does cover wider issues across the borough. And you can subscribe to the Southbury News YouTube channel and the West Kent Talking podcast. Thanks very much for watching and listening.